Hello again, YouTube. Okay, I've got a lot of stuff out here, I know, and I'm going to try to make this video as quick as possible, but I wanted to do like a epoxy, mica powder, and a few accessories. So, I'm going to move a few things over, and we're going to get started. I use a lot of stuff with epoxy. I've accumulated a lot of stuff, and I want to show you the basics of what I use and why I use it and stuff like that. So first we're going to get started with the epoxy. When I first bought my epoxy, I had heard so many reviews about epoxy, and a lot of people talk bad about it, and they had used it for so many years, like certain brands, and then all of a sudden it just didn't work. So when I bought my epoxy, I didn't want to spend much money. I wanted to get the cheapest and the best value. I went on Amazon and was looking, and I have Amazon Prime 2-day free shipping, and that seemed like the best bet for me because I didn't want to pay for my shipping. So let me move these because the video looks real dark, and that had nothing to do with it. Okay, so I went on Amazon and I found the cheapest epoxy that I could get, and there was even a coupon for it, like 10% off, and I bought the 8-ounce bottles because those were the cheapest. These are 16 ounces, but I'll link the 8-ounce and the 16-ounce below. But this is the epoxy I use. I don't know. It is Puduo epoxy resin, AB 1:1 ratio. It says that it's crystal clear, self-leveling, 30-minute work time, non-flammable, no VOSs, and low odor. It does have low odor. I've heard so many people complaining about how strong epoxy is, and I don't have a problem with this. I do use gloves. I don't wear a mask, but I use gloves because when it gets on my hands, it's real sticky. Now, something odd that I have not heard no one else say. Hold on, I'm getting a pair of gloves. I get it on my hands before I realize to put on gloves, and my hands will be sticky. And I put my gloves on, and they're latex, and the latex gets on my hands, and it like removes the epoxy. When I take my gloves off, my hands aren't sticky no more. I've watched thousands of epoxy videos, and I have not heard anyone say anything like that. And I think it's amazing because I get so upset that my hands are sticky, and then I put my gloves on because I forgot to put them on to begin with, and when I take them off, they're not sticky no more. It's like the latex or something removes the stickiness. I don't know, but I just now thought about going over that. Okay, these bottles are pour top. They just got a little metal top that you punch and it comes out. That's not easy to pour into small molds, not molds, cups. It can pour out fast. So I bought these from the Dollar Tree. You get one for $1, and I bought 2 of them. They're in the kitchen section, and I put my epoxy in them, and then I labeled them A and B. That way I know which one's which. I have a small tabletop desk heater, and if it's cold that day or something, sometimes it messes with the epoxy. And B is easy to get out. It's running. But A is a little bit thicker and takes longer. But whenever I'm planning on doing an epoxy project, I just set these bottles about a foot away from my little tabletop heater. It don't put out that much heat, and it makes it to where it's easier to get my epoxies out. So I do B first, and then I do A on top, because when you pour the A, it blends with the B as you're pouring it, and to me, it makes it easier to mix. Now, if you put A on the bottom, because it's harder to mix with B, then it's already sitting on the bottom. I don't know. That's just the way I do it. Okay, you get those 2 bottles that I showed you to begin with. They send these little cups, and they're little measuring cups. They've got the measurements on both sides. They're 100 milliliters on that side. Yeah, both sides are 100 milliliters. So it's like medicine cups, but bigger. They have the 20 milliliters, everything. I don't use these. These are my backup. If I do an epoxy project and my silicone cups are dirty or something, then I'll use these. The reason I don't use these is because you have to throw them away. The epoxy don't come out of them. They're a mess. It's just a backup. The company sends them free with the epoxy through Amazon. So I just keep them in just in case. Sometimes I'll use them for my dirty pours because I can wash them out and reuse them. Epoxy, I don't like using them. You also get a small popsicle stick. Stir-in stick is what they call it. When you mix your 2 colors together, or your 2 epoxies together, you got to stir it and stir it. And you're supposed to stir slow and steady to eliminate bubbles. Honestly, what I do is I stir and stir and stir. I don't care if it's fast or slow or I'm not steady. I don't care. When I get done stirring it, I set it in front of my desk heater, and it kind of warms it up a little bit, and the warmth will pop the bubbles. So I mix it. I get a ton of bubbles because I'm impatient, and I set it in front of the heater and let it warm up for a few minutes. Not long, maybe 5 minutes. And then if I want to add glitter or Mica Powders or anything like that to it, that's when I do that. So you get a popsicle stick. I don't use these either. I have both as a backup. The small ones and the big ones. But I don't like these. You have to throw them away. I like using these. I get my epoxy on here, and I can just take a baby wipe and wipe them off. I get these at the Dollar Tree. You get 72 wipes for $1. You can't beat that. But I use these, and after I get done with my project, I'll take a baby wipe and just wipe it off. Make sure I got all the epoxy off of it, especially the handle and this middle piece. The epoxy will not come off of this after it dries unless I sit there and just pick and pick and pick at it. Now, if I leave epoxy on here, because it's silicone, it peels right off. It's easy to come off. So I got these at the Dollar Tree. They're also $1. This, it's all silicone. If I get epoxy on it, I can just pick it right off. I just picked a small piece off. I don't have to worry about it at all. And it bends real easy. So I don't use those plastic cups. I use this. So I can get in there and it bends and I can get my epoxy out. I like this. I also got it at the Dollar Tree in the dollar section. And I like it. It's got metal on the inside of the handle and down into the spoon or spatula just a little bit. But the outside of it is all silicone, so the epoxy don't stick to it. I use these silicone cups from Amazon. I'll link them below. Also, everything that I'm showing that I got from Amazon or eBay or wherever, I'll link below. And then the stuff from the Dollar Tree, y'all can just go and pick it up. But I got these from the Amazon, and they're just like these plastic cups. They got the measurements on them. It's kind of hard to see them, so sometimes I'll take a black Sharpie marker and mark my lines on it. That way when I'm pouring my epoxy, I can see the line better. But also if I hold it up to the light, I can see it. But they're the same, except they got this pour spout. Makes it easier for the epoxy to run out. You can slow it down, you can speed it up. This, I don't know. I just don't like it. It pours out different. Epoxy comes right off. I leave it in there. I let it get crusted. And after it's dried, I just break it like this. Move it around. And then put my fingers in there and just pull out the epoxy. It's easy. Then after I get the big chunks out, I'll wash it. I need to bleach these because I've heard other people complain that they turn yellow after time. And mine have, but it don't affect my epoxy. I still use them. It don't mess with the color of my epoxy or nothing. They just don't look pretty. But honestly, instead of buying cups, I'd rather use these these silicone cups, and they look nasty, rather than having to buy it. So, I highly recommend everything to be silicone. Here's a silicone mold, and it's still got epoxy on it. And it's from eBay. And I won an auction for it. And when it came, these pieces up here, like A through N, are pretty thick. And then the ones at the bottom, O through X, seem thinner. But it hasn't affected the letters that I make. They're only about the size of a bead. They're small. They're really small letters. I still like them because you can put these in stuff. Like if you do shaker molds, you can put letters in them. Or you can embed these in other epoxy or more epoxy. Whatever you want to do. Just make sure that they're good and cured before you add them to anything. Honestly, I thought it was going to be one of those big sheets that they use for keychains. And when this came, I was a little disappointed. And then I was like, well, I mean, I can still use that. I only paid like 25 cents for it through eBay. If you go on eBay and get in on auctions for silicone molds, you can get some really good deals. Okay, here's some of the letters that I've made. Oh, first let me go over this. Okay, I pour my epoxy on here. Honestly, I just pour it like this. I don't try to get it in these little cracks and crevices or anything. I tried that, and it didn't work. So, this is the way that I tried it. Go in there, get some epoxy, and go through the letters. And it took me so long. And I want all of the letters. That way, I have these pre-made. Whenever I want to use them, I can just go and get them and use them. So, now, what I decided is to just pour it in there. Take one of my little silicone brush things. Hold my mold, and I brush it over like this. And I make sure that it gets spreaded everywhere. And I just keep doing this until I like the way that it's starting to look. Then when it looks good, I go in with the toothpick and I start spreading it through the letters, making sure that it touched all of the little cracks and crevices and holes and stuff like that. Then when I get done, if I need to scrape off some more, I will. Use a baby wipe, get the epoxy off, go back, scrape some more, whatever I need to do. That seems easier for me than sitting here trying to feel each individual letter one at a time. That, oh my, that took too long. Okay, this is my letters. My camera, it is so dark. I don't know why this video is dark and the one from yesterday wasn't. Oh, let me show you what the letters look like when I bring them out of the mold. Hold on, let me find a good one. There's a good one. They're connected. And what I do is I take my scissors. It's really thin, the epoxy that's got them stuck together, and I just trim them. And then I use my Dremel and I go around the letter and I trim it down to where there's no excess epoxy on it anymore. It takes me less than 5 minutes to trim these down, and I don't get aggravated or anything. When I try to fill each letter one at a time, it would take me 30-45 minutes to fill each one, and I get aggravated. Okay, so these letters I wanted to show. I used GLOUE Mica Powders, and they glow, and they're like a hot pink. I don't know if the video's picking up on that. I don't think so. I'm gonna have to figure out something else for my video with just regulars. They're not glow or anything spectacular. There's all of those. When I have extra epoxy after I do a project, I will put it in a mold just to, hoping that I can get something to turn out. And this one, I didn't have enough epoxy, but I still wanted to show what I do. It don't look that good. The back of it is all jagged, and it's not even shaped 100% like it should be. Then I had some extra white or clear with a touch of the purple right there in that corner, and I wasn't paying attention and didn't use my hair dryer. That's what I use to get my bubbles out after I pour it in the mold. Some people use heat guns, and I tried that, and it burnt my epoxy. So I don't use a heat gun. I just use my hair dryer. I have an extra hair dryer that I have plugged up over here at my table, and whenever I pour epoxy in, I'll just use my hair dryer and hit it for 30 seconds and the bubbles pop. But this one I forgot to pop the bubbles, so it's got a ton of bubbles in it, but that's fine. I don't care. I mean, it don't make it look bad. Some people like bubbles, some people don't. Some things I like bubbles in, sometimes I don't, so it's not that big of a deal. Now these are roses, and they were made with Mica Powders. Now these are roses, and they were made with Mica Powders, and I tried doing these with glitters, and they don't come out shaped or as much detail. I don't know if the glitter just takes away from them. I didn't like the way that the roses turned out with the glitter, so I decided to do some without the glitter just to see if it turned out better. This is another heart, and it's clear, and it don't have nearly as much bubbles as that other one. I haven't completely sanded it all the way. I'm still working on it, but I put little gems, rocks inside of it, and my son got me these. I love this. I love this. It's just special. Here's a pink heart that I've done that's basically perfect. I like it. I like the way it turned out. It's done with the glow powder, so it glows in the dark. The gems that I used for this one, the little rocks, I have in this container, and this is what they are. And I just pick out the ones that I like the best and put it in there and let it set for about 24 hours, and then I demolded it. And I normally have to let mine set for another week or so for it to get 100% hard. It'll be hard after 24 hours. It's hard, but sometimes it takes a few extra days for it to completely cure. I use a ton of different stuff in my molds. These are some beads. I'm just showing different stuff that you can put in your molds and epoxy. These are some little beads that I use, and I'll use oh my goodness. I will use tweezers and just pick out the beads that I want. Here's some more. These are like crystals and pearls and stuff. I haven't found anything that can't be applied to the epoxy yet. These are just the little shapes in different colors. They're like flowers. I've added these. Okay, that's enough of that. Now we're going to look at the mica powders that I add and how I have mine organized and stuff like that. Oh wait, I wanted to show these containers are at the Dollar Tree for $1. And these that I hold my beads in, they're also at the Dollar Tree. You can get 10 for $1, and it's just so easy to organize small stuff. And on the side, I put gems. Here's another container that I got from the Dollar Tree. I put mica powders on the side of it. This is my GLOUE mica powders. I have them separated that way. See them all glowing. No, there we go. Okay, these I got from, where did I get these? I believe these came from Amazon. And I smack it like this to get it to fall down. And that's what they look like. These two are color shifting. They're this color now, like a white. And there it looks blue. No, green. Let me see. No, I think this one's green. See the color still in it? Hold on. See the color's still glowing some. I don't know if my camera's picking up on the glowing. This UV light charges the powder and makes it glow after it's been turned off. I don't know if that's picking up. This one is blue. See, it's glowing now. The rest of them are just pink and purple and blue and green, and they're not color shifting, so they're always green. It's just a glow green when it's glowing. These are some really small micro powders that I got from Amazon. No, these didn't come eBay or AliExpress. I'll add the link below. These are for surely from AliExpress. And they came in this little container, and it was all taped. Tons of tape. Tape covered the whole thing. When I took the tape off, they were all sticky, and I didn't want to open it, and the micas get all over the tape. So what I done was took a baby wipe and put a lot of alcohol on it and wiped it all down. And there was some micas on the baby powder. So before they had taped it, there was micas on the bottle, on the container. But I took a baby wipe and wiped it down and cleaned it real good before I opened it. And that worked pretty good. This little spoon thing came with the micas on one of the sets. I don't remember which set. But what I use to get my micas and my glitter and different stuff out is these glitter spoons. Or, I can't remember what they're named on Amazon. But they got this little spatula that you can pick the glitter or micas out with. And then this side, you can spoon it out. For small amounts, it's easier to use the spatula. And for larger amounts, use the spoon. I love it. It works perfect. I've got about 10 of them. Okay. Oh, this green came with this set also. I don't know why they included 2 greens, but I'm not complaining. I got these containers from Walmart in the craft section. I believe you get 6 for $1. And I put my GLOUE powders in here, and some of my powders come in bags. Here's one of the bags. They come in these bags, and it's hard for me to get the powder out of the bag and be able to see how much I'm taking out and stuff like that. And plus, you don't know if it's sealed completely. I mean, it's a bag. These, they twist on. They're easy to make sure that they're sealed. You know that everything's pretty much falling down when you hit on it or smack it a little bit. That's the purple. I will link all of these below. I've got about, let's see. This is 1 set, 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets. And then this is just a black that wouldn't fit in my other container with all of these. So I just put it in here. One of the sets of micas come with a glove. And I just have it in here. That's all of the GLOUEs. We're going to look at the other micas that I have. This is 2 sets that I blended together. And what I done was I got those containers at Walmart in the craft section. And I started with pink, and I kind of went into red and orange and gold and bronze and the purples. And then I done the greens and the blues, the white, and some more blues. I don't know why these blues, those should be over here. I don't know why I got that separated. And then gray and some more blacks. And more gray and black. And more brown and bronze and yellow and orange. Those are separate too. I don't know what I was thinking. But what I done was I took shipping labels and cut them into strips, small strips, and wrote what color each one is. And I put it in here, and I can just see where everything's at. I love these containers from the Dollar Tree. I cannot talk enough about these containers. They're so easy to organize my stuff, and I just like them. When you use micas with epoxy, it don't take much micas. Start out with the smallest amount and add more as you need to. I mean, it literally just takes a tiny bit. Oh, I didn't hit that down enough. I made a mess. My floor is covered with micas and glitter and all of that. I swear, you can't clean up mica powders or glitter or anything. I did a project using the GLOUE powder, and then my kids came in here and was looking at the GLOUE powder with my UV light, and they shined it in the floor. Oh my God, looked like a dead body was in my floor because of all of the GLOUE powder that was shining. Okay, the UV light, I got this with one of my Mica's, the GLOUE powders. This came as an extra. I'll link everything below, and if they still offer the mica powder with this UV light, you'll be able to get it. I don't know how many watts it is or anything, but I use this to look at my colors. I use it for UV resin. I don't have any UV resin right now. I had ran out and hadn't ordered more yet, but I use this for my UV resin. Let's say that I've done this in my mold with UV resin. And to dry it, you just sit here for a few minutes like this, and the UV light dries the resin. And then you'll be able to take it out of the mold, everything. But you got to have a good UV light to be able to do that. I've never used this one to dry UV resin, so I don't know if it works. What I do use is this. Let me plug it up and show you what I do and why I do it and everything. Oh my goodness, I'm making a mess. Everything's falling. I've got a charger, not a charger, outlet plug on my table. Okay, I use this. Other people just will put their light on their table like that, put their stuff in there and cure it. But if I mess up and spill it, I'd rather it be done on this metal that I can pick the epoxy off. There's some on there right now. And I just scrape it right off, and it comes, as long as it's thin pieces, it'll come right off. It's all on my finger. Okay. But I like to put my epoxy project on there. That way if any spills off, I don't have a mess. Then I put this over top of it. And I can't find a light, a UV light, that runs for more than 4 minutes at a time. I need one that runs for like 10 minutes. This one only does 1.5 minutes. It's got 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and oh, it's 99 seconds. Okay. And most epoxy projects that you do will take at least, not epoxy, UV resin will take at least 4 minutes to dry. I like to do mine for about 10 minutes just to make sure. Epoxy also will dry without a UV light, but it takes a long time. Other people will say that it will not dry. Let me tell you, I put some UV resin in one of these bottles, the clear bottle, and had it sitting on my shelf, and it dried. Let me see if I can find that in the trash. Hold on. Yep, here it is. My trash is a craft trash, so there's nothing, no food, nothing like that, nothing nasty. This is my UV resin. I was thinking, God, it would be nice to put it in a clear bottle. That way I can see how much I have when I need to order again. It would just be nice. Little cap, everything. Oh, it'd be fine in there. It dried. It's hard. It won't come out. I tried to use UV resin yesterday or the day before, and it was hard as a rock. So, UV resin will dry without a UV light. I don't know how long it takes. I didn't even know that it would work. I didn't know that this was a problem. Now I know. Leave the UV resin in its container. It's a dark bottle normally, and I guess it repels the sun and the lights and stuff. In this bottle, it don't repel it, and it dried. So, I will link everything below. I know this video was really long, but I will add a lot of links and a lot of products that I get. If you have any more questions, please let me know. And if you want me to do another video on something else, please comment below and let me know what y'all are interested in. Thank you, and please like, subscribe, and share.